Hey guys, welcome to the Auto 101. Today we're reviewing this 2015 Acura TLX. Nothing crazy going on with this car. It's the base model, front-wheel drive, 4-cylinder. I'll give you a brief overview of the outside, the inside, a little bit of the driving impressions, and then finally talk about whether it's a good buy in its competitive class. It's a super hotly contested segment. You have stuff like the C Class, 3 Series, A4, really good cars, really popular cars. So let's see if this car holds up. Alright, so for exterior impressions, we can start off with the front here. This is Acura's front and center. The first thing you see is Acura's shield grille. This grille got a lot of hate when it first came out. I think they released it in like the late 2000s with like the Acura TL and Acura MDX of the time. By the time this car came out in 2015, they kind of toned it down, and in my perspective, in my opinion, this actually doesn't look too bad. Like if you think about it, it's not too big, it's small, it ties in nicely with the headlights. Overall, I think it's not a bad look. Some people call it a beak and they're not a huge fan of it, but I think on this car it works. And honestly, if you compare it to some of the newer grills that some of these luxury car companies are putting out, this is pretty restrained. Going over into the headlights, you have what Acura calls dual eye headlights. So basically they're the 5 individual LED modules, and each of them light up a nice white / bluish light during nighttime, and it looks really good. An important thing for luxury cars is having like a light signature. Like you'll see BMW's angel eyes, and Mercedes has those swoops, and Audi has all kinds of stuff going on. So this looks good during nighttime. Acura did a good job with the headlights. On the bottom here you have some fake grills. Nothing you can really do about that. A lot of luxury car companies have these fake grills, but these are pretty nice, and some of them have actual holes, so I guess they're not entirely fake. Alright, talking about the side of the car, this particular car is based on the Honda Accord, the 9th gen Honda Accord. So the wheelbase it rides on is the same, but from a length perspective, it's actually just a little bit smaller than the Accord. So proportionally, it looks more compact and tight from a side view angle. You also have a pretty interesting like rear window line here. It's not like a Hofmeister kink like you see on BMWs and a lot of other cars. This is like a unique kind of shape. It looks good. The lines on the side aren't as like steel cut and aggressive as you'd find on like a BMW or an Audi, but it's nice and swoopy. It looks good. It gives the car some flow and some dynamic character. So overall, from a side view perspective, I think it looks pretty good. One thing to specify, this car does come on 17-inch wheels, but come closer. If you look here, these are Honda wheels, so this is just a winter tire pack, but even on the stock summer wheels, they're 17-inch wheels, which I do think look a little small on the car. The summer wheels do look a little bit nicer though, so don't go buy these. These are just Honda winter wheels. Moving on to the back of the car, you have these rectangular looking headlights here, little LED strip here, LED strip here, and on the back, probably the biggest thing for this car is that you don't have any fake exhaust vents. On the Type S, which is what the newer facelift TLX has, you get like 2 fake vents and 2 really big exhaust pipes, so I think that looks really good. On this car though, you just have hidden exhaust and these little reflectors down here, so it's better than some newer luxury cars that have fake exhaust pipes, so it's really up to you to pick your poison. Do you want fake exhaust pipes or hidden exhaust pipes? Personally, I like the hidden look more, so I'd go with this. Overall though, I do think that the back end is just a little bit generic. It's not bad by any means, but when you compare to something like a 3 Series or a C Class, from the back they look very distinct and unique, whereas this just tends to look a little bit generic. Not bad though. Alright, so powertrain. This is the base model TLX. So this car comes with Honda's K24 engine. So this is a 2.4 liter 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated, nothing crazy going on. You also found this engine in the base model Accord, Honda Civic Si. It's a pretty common engine. Puts out around 200 horsepower, 180 foot-pounds of torque. Not super powerful, but also not that slow, not that bad. Again, when you compare this to something like a C Class, 3 Series, A4, Lexus IS, all of those cars these days are using 2-liter turbocharged engines that put out somewhere in the mid-200s in terms of power. So this is a little underpowered, but since it is naturally aspirated, you get a smoother engine compared to those turbo engines. The V6 models come with Honda's J35 engine. So that has J35 V6. So that has closer to 300 horsepower. Again, quite smooth because it's a V6. We're fine. I haven't driven that car, so I can't comment on it, but that is a more powerful engine, and it's a super reliable common Honda engine. Transmission-wise, this is actually quite interesting. So this car has an 8-speed dual clutch transmission in-house made by Honda. The cool thing about that transmission is that it actually has a torque converter in addition to the clutches. So a dual clutch uses two clutches to kind of hold one gear ready while one gear is in place to have a smoother shift. The torque converter is meant to make that shift even smoother. Keep in mind though that the V6 does not come with that, and I think the V6 comes with a 10-speed automatic. So now let's go inside, talk about some driving impressions, and also go over the interior. Okay, behind the wheel driving impressions. So we talked about how this car has that 2.4 liter 4-cylinder engine and 8-speed in-house Honda DCT, which from a powertrain perspective, at least the engine, is super similar to what you get in the base model Honda Accord of this generation. And that's actually the car that I drive on a daily basis, the 2015 Honda Accord. So comparing this to that, this definitely feels a little bit sportier, a little bit more agile, more nimble. It's not an out-and-out sports sedan by any means. Like, you're not gonna have a M340i type experience, but that's not even what this is competing with. Looking against a base model 3 Series or C Class, this does good. Like, this is nimble, it's sporty. You feel like you're driving something a little bit spirited compared to the Accord. So I think they've done a really good job in changing the way this drives compared to an Accord, but it still is a little bit more softer and, I guess, reserved on the road compared to its German competition, especially because those are all rear-wheel drive bias with the exception of the A4, whereas this is a front-wheel drive only car. This is not even the all-wheel drive car. This does have something called PAWS, P-A-W-S, which is Acura Precision All-Wheel Steer, which basically means at slow speeds, like let's say you turn the wheels one way when you're going slow, the back wheels will also turn the same direction to give you a more kind of agile and nimble feeling in parking lots and stuff, just to give you kind of like a smaller turning radius. At high speeds though, sorry, there's just someone coming behind me, but at high speeds, the back wheels go in the opposite directions of the front wheels to give you like a smoother, more comfortable turn. To me personally, I don't feel it working actively, but I do notice that this is a little bit more nimble, like I said, and agile compared to the Accord. So maybe that's what's causing it to feel like that. I don't really know what the difference is. It could just be mostly suspension tuning, but it does feel better, and it has that system, which is, it's kind of cool. It's a cool system. But yeah, overall, it feels more sporty than the Accord. Maybe not as sporty as something like a 3 Series or maybe even a C Class, but for its class, if you want something that's a little bit more comfortable and refined as opposed to outright sporty, and since it's front-wheel drive, you'll get a little bit better fuel economy. So if you want that, then this is a good option. Okay, Acura TLX interior impressions. So it doesn't look super bougie, super fancy. It looks a little plain, a little bit dated. That's because it is. It's from 2015, so it doesn't look as flashy as what you see in some of the newer luxury cars in terms of screens or even in terms of gauge clusters. This has, a lot of analog gauges and just a basic trip computer / display in the middle. But overall, the quality of everything is quite high. So this is all good stuff right here. Even this imitation wood trim doesn't look that bad. Again, sorry, excuse the mess. It's wintertime here in Canada. Just haven't been able to clean it, so it looks pretty trash, but trust me, the quality is good. So yeah, not a bad interior. Infotainment wise, it's a mess. So the screen at the top here controls your phone, your audio, and your trip computer / a clock. That's all this top screen does. This screen controls like half of your climate, so stuff like seat heaters, temperature, airflow, fan speed. That's all here, and you also have an audio display here. So you have an audio display here, an audio display up here. This is touch operated. Then you have some physical climate control buttons here, and then you have this kind of situation down here, which controls the screen at the very top. Confused? Because it's confusing. I don't know why they did this whole situation with the two screens, but honestly, the implementation of it is not that good. And it's not a problem unique to this Acura TLX. This was in several Honda products at the time. Honda Accords, Odysseys, all kinds of cars had this, and it's just a mess in all of those cars. The Accord base models only came with just a top screen and then physical climate control buttons, and that was way cleaner, way simpler to use. I wish it had just gone with this. This two screen thing may look a little flashier, but honestly, it's just not executed right. And on top of that, this is the exact same infotainment that you find in Hondas of the era. So you don't feel like you're using a premium infotainment system because everything looks the same as the Hondas. So maybe they should have done something like change your graphics or something to feel like you're driving an Acura instead of a Honda, but they haven't done that, so that kind of detracts from the experience of the inside here. Okay, backseat wise, again, we're in the winter mess. Good quality materials, a little bit smaller than the Accord, but doesn't feel super congested or cramped. I fit in this seat pretty well, like if I sit right here. Now I'm 5'10", and this is adjusted for me at 5'10" in the front too. And I have some pretty good knee room, pretty good headroom. You guys can't see it, but trust me, there's good headroom, good leg room. It looks cramped because of this, but if I move this here, not that bad. Pretty good. Overall, backseat conclusion, a little bit smaller than the Accord, but high quality materials and a pretty spacious feeling. Trunk, similar to the back seat. Again, excuse the mess, but a little bit smaller than the Accord. Still pretty spacious. I mean, it's not small or congested by any means. It's nicely finished. Better finishing than the Accord. You have some nicer pull grips here. These hinges are covered. You could pull your seat back down from here, but you have to go in and actually push it, so that's a little bit of a negative, but it's a pretty good trunk. Alas, no spare tire. This is an inflation kit and this storage. Okay, overall conclusion on the 2015 Acura TLX. It's a good car, refined, built well. Interior may not be the flashiest or most technology-laden interior. It's a little bit old school. You got to keep in mind this car is from 2015. A new one's coming out next year. But if you were to compare this car against its competition right now, I think from a pure luxury perspective, it may not really hit the bar in terms of what the German competition's putting out, or even stuff like Genesis, which is really killing it, and the Lexus IS. This is maybe like one tier below those, but I still think it's a really good car. It feels more like a Honda Plus as opposed to a full-on like entry-level luxury car. But these, in the used market, you could typically get a better deal than what you can get on those cars. So if you want a well-built, reliable, efficient, slightly sporty, but also slightly refined, mid-size sedan as opposed to a sports sedan, then this is definitely a good buy. It's a great car. Alright, thanks for tuning in. Stay tuned. Hopefully more videos coming soon. I used to film videos on this channel a long time ago when I was a kid. I'm trying to get back into it. So it's raining. That's a sign that this video is over. Stay tuned. Thanks. Make sure to subscribe.